stay tuned to the end of the video to see who is crowned the champion of coffee pot cleaners, if that's a title that you want to have. One of the foundational principles of making good coffee at home is to make sure that your equipment is cleaned regularly. In today's video, we're going to specifically be talking about the coffee pot. Now, the pot or carafe or whatever you're going to call it is the vessel that the coffee is brewed into. If this is not clean, then you're going to get that residual taste of whatever remained in that pot from the previous brew. So you want to make sure that you're cleaning this regularly, if not after every brew. So we have 5 different methods in front of me and 5 very dirty coffee pots that we're going to test out and see which of these methods is the best for getting as much material out of these pots as possible with the minimal amount of work. Owning a coffee delivery service, you get some pretty crazy returns from customers, and I'm not going to call out any specific customers, but of course these pots in front of us were returned or brought back from customers and replaced with new ones, and they are downright filthy. So you can see it. It's even worse in person. So we're going to take a crack at it. We have, again, 5 different methods that are all over the internet, proven to clean out coffee pots. We're going to put them to the test. So just from left to right here, we have the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. We have just baking soda. We have Dawn Platinum Easy Squeeze dish detergent. We just have some distilled white vinegar. And lastly, we have Sque Can, which is a product that we actually sell on our delivery service that is made specifically for cleaning coffee pots. Now, for each of these examples, to try and keep it as consistent as possible, we're going to use hot water as the kind of main ingredient in this reaction. So like, for example, for the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, we're just going to use hot water in the pot and then use the magic eraser. Now, I do have this bottle brush here that will help because the tops of these pots are very narrow. And so to help get inside of there, I've got this bottle brush here. First up, we're going to start with the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. This is the most simple, but also the most manual, I think, of the removal processes. So we have our pot here, have our eraser, and have our brush ready to go. I'll try and give you a closer look at this pot. Unfortunately, it's impossible to get consistency across all the pots, so they're a little bit different, but at least it should give us an idea of how each of these products work. So we're going to add a little bit of water to the bottom, get it swirled around, and go ahead and shove that on in. Now I'm actually going to use the back end of the brush since the magic eraser is supposed to be doing most of the work, so I'll just go ahead and start cleaning this around. Wow, that's actually doing a pretty decent job. That was about a minute of scrubbing here, maybe even a little less, and we're actually in pretty decent shape. Now the tricky part is going to be getting this thing out of here. I did not think of that. Get the corner of it, see if we can get it out. All right, and this is just the inside, but it did a pretty darn good job. That was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to do. And I'll go ahead and wipe down the outside because the outside was also a little dirty for the amount of effort it took. That was a pretty darn good job. There's a little bit of residue right there on this side. I think another swipe at it would take care of that. But I'm going to go ahead and say that was pretty successful. So for test number 2, we're going to stick with a product that most of you probably already have in your house or something similar. So this is Dawn Platinum. It says it helps remove up to 99% of grease and food residue. And so we are going to go ahead and give this a try. Here's this cup or this pot. We're going to go ahead and give this a try. Put a liberal amount down there at the bottom. And then we'll go ahead, I refilled this hot water, so we'll go ahead and fill it back up. All right. Again, give it a good swirl around. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. We'll go ahead and now use our brush to see how much of this stuck on coffee residue we can get off. I can already actually see just from sitting here some of the heavy stuck on stuff releasing. So I'm actually pretty optimistic about this. So let's see. All right, so we're giving it, oh yeah, all that stuff on the side's coming right off. A little bit of there. To the top, pretty much all the stuff on the sides have come off really nicely. I'm trying to keep kind of track. I'm trying to go for no more than like a minute just to keep kind of everything fair. Okay, so my first impressions is that I actually thought that there was a little bit mist on the bottom here, but if I'm not mistaken, that actually might be from the bottom of the pot. Yeah, it's actually on the bottom. All right, so we'll give this another rinse off. And just with a little elbow grease on the bottom, which is not the Dawn's fault at all because we were only testing it and scrubbing it on the inside. I mean, that's a really clean pot. I'm actually pretty impressed with that one as well. Okay, so next up in our test, we have the white distilled vinegar. So I looked up several recipes on the internet and most of them said to do a 1-to-1 vinegar to water ratio. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and we'll pour in our vinegar and we'll pour it till about there. Get all the bottom covered, and then we will go ahead and pour in our water. All right. Give that a good swirl around. And this method you can also use to clean the inside of your coffee makers. And this is really the only one that I would recommend for that purpose. So you can actually run brews with the distilled white vinegar and the water combination and clean out all the buildup within the system. So I would recommend doing that, but we'll test and see how this does as a pot cleaning agent as well. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes, so we are gonna go ahead and give this one a go. I will say that I don't see nearly as much stuff floating in the pot as I did with the first two, but that doesn't mean that it's not effective. So we will go ahead and grab our brush. We will give it a go. It is coming up. It is not as rapid as the other ones. Okay, so we'll keep going here. Okay, and so that's about the same amount of time as the others. So we will go ahead and stop there. And I can already tell, I'll go ahead and pour this out, that while somewhat effective, and I do need to rinse this outside off, there is still quite a bit of residue on the inside of this pot. And so some of it, like this bottom, this is burnt on the bottom, so that doesn't count. But the rest of it is on the inside. And so this has so far done the least effective job of removing the coffee residue from the pot. Next up, we do have the baking soda. I didn't really look up any tutorials for this one other than I know that it's effective. So I don't really know how much to put in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and just sprinkle a liberal amount down at the bottom, get it evenly distributed, and then I'm gonna come in with the boiling water. So, and give it a swirl around. I can already see it coming off. So we're giving it a good swirl here. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes and so far it's pretty impressive. There is a lot of gunk that is just coming out just from it sitting there. So far pretty impressed. We will go ahead and grab our brush. I mean, you can't see this, but like I just hit an untouched area and it just like melted away. So that's pretty cool. Wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean, it is about as spotless as you can ask for on the inside. The outside, of course, we haven't touched yet, has a layer of stuff on it, but so far, wow, that's pretty impressive. That's amazingly clean for what it was. A couple more rinses and that'll be looking good as new. And last but certainly not least, we have the Sque Can Clean, the ultimate coffee pot cleaner. And like I mentioned before, we actually sell this on our coffee delivery service to help our customers easily clean their pots. So I'm actually very interested to see the results of this one side by side. I've used this one in isolation, so I know it works, but I've never used it in comparison with all these other methods. So it says the instructions are to to add 1 line's worth, so there's little lines on the side of the bottle, so like one line's worth of liquid, and then fill it 1/4 of the way with hot water, and then use a brush to rinse with water. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and add, it's kind of hard to do, so we're just gonna do, all right, 1 application of the Sque Can Clean, and then we are going to, it said fill halfway with hot water. So I apologize, I'm not sure what happened. I was doing the segment with the Sque Can Clean, and for some reason my camera decided to stop recording, so I didn't actually get footage of using the brush to clean the inside of this pot. But this is the same pot from the start of the video for the Sque Can Clean test, and as you can see, it is perfect. So in conclusion, 4 out of 5 isn't bad. We had 5 internet hacks. Well, 4 because this one's a commercially available product, so we won't count this one. But 4 internet hacks, 3 of the 4, and 4 out of the 5 total were very successful. The white distilled vinegar, while it didn't live up to the others, it does, I think, still have its merit in being used as a cleaner for coffee equipment. And that's because you can use it throughout the system to clean your equipment. As long as you do a couple of rinse cycles afterwards, it does a great job of cleaning out your coffee maker. And you can't really use any of these other methods to do that. So I do still think there's merit with the white distilled vinegar, but compared to the other contestants, it didn't quite live up to what those others could do. So who's the winner? Well, I mean, it would be easy to say the product that we sell on our delivery route is the winner, but we're gonna go ahead and discount that for now because it is a commercially available product, and I really wanted one of these internet hacks to win. So the winner of the best all-around coffee pot cleaner is baking soda. But I don't think that baking soda alone would have done as well if we had not used the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean the outside of the pot. And so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a joint win using the baking soda on the inside of the pot and the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser on the outside of the pot. And with those two combined, I think that you can do a great job in under 3 minutes of getting a very clean coffee pot. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see other similar type videos, we have a whole lot of how-to coffee education style videos. If you want to see more content from us in the future, please consider subscribing to our channel, and we'll see you again very soon.